Welcome, welcome. First of all, congratulations on being nominated for a Tony. Some folks in our staff have seen the show. Some folks on our staff saw the show, came back just raving. And so I'm so happy for you. Where were you when you got the news? I always wonder, I wonder where they are. Are they brushing their teeth? Are they with friends? Are they waiting to hear?
You know, this morning, well, first of all, thank you very much. And second of all, my friend Andrew Colbert, he told me, you have to have a story. They're going to ask you. And
so just make something up.
Well, the truth is, I was sleeping, and then my alarm went off, and it's a song. Then every morning I sit there and listen to the song. And I'm checking
What song is it?
It's Laundry Room by the Avett Brothers.
Oh, okay.
It's a great way to wake up. And so I'm checking my WhatsApp, and my friend Simon Bailey from the United Kingdom, who I did Phantom with, said, I'm proud of you, man. I said, what for? He goes, oh, you got a Tony nomination. I was like, oh.
Come on. You didn't know they were announcing them today?
Well, kind of. I knew it was today because last week everyone was talking about it, but I just thought, you know, what can you do about it? I just going to do my best in the show and try and get the sleep where I need it. And last night I was so tired, so I overslept. I wouldn't have woken up for it because what can you do? Now I'm going to be a nervous wreck. So I thought it was perfect to find out from my best friend back home.
Oh, that's nice. Well, it's very exciting. And you have such an interesting backstory because I know you were born in Iran, but you grew up in Canada.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about Canadians here. They're like,
yeah,
we got some Canadians here.
Good to see you, eh? Well, you know, it's funny we're doing Les Mis about a revolution. I was born in a revolution, like many Iranians were. So we escaped in 1978 when I was born and moved to Italy for 2 years. So I started out there. And then I remember I asked my dad, how do we end up in Peterborough, Ontario? He goes, oh, we had a choice. I think Australia, LA, New York, or Peterborough, Ontario. And I was like, well, who suggested that in the room? You know, like, I know a place where it's small and it's still on a map. But I'm so glad. It was a real small, you know, homely town, and I love it.
And is that where you became very interested in the theater? Did you start acting when you were a kid and when you were in high school? Were you in your high school musical?
No, there was none of that in our high school at the time. Oddly enough, it's a performing arts school now. But no, it was, for me, I was really into Johnny Cash and Joe Cocker and Tracy Chapman, these sort of country singers who had stories to tell. And I was really into watching De Niro movies, Danny Day-Lewis, Marlon Brando. Then I saw Phantom of the Opera with a school trip, which I didn't want to go to, but it was a day off school. And I remember thinking, oh, I want to do that. That seems like a cool role.
And you ended up seeing Phantom how many times?
Like 25 times as a kid, you know.
Really?
Yeah.
And you said at one point when you were 12 years old, I understand, when you were at the play, you said, I'm going to be in Phantom of the Opera one day. That's
right. And all my hockey buddies ribbed me, and they were like, yeah, right. And I thought, I got to stick by my guns on this one. So I remember I made a bet with him. I don't know why I said this. There was nothing to back it up. I said, I'll bet you I'll be the youngest Phantom.
And you were at 26, right?
At 26, I got my contract in London. I remember phoning him going, now what?
That is so cool. And you actually went on to build a really nice relationship with Colm Wilkinson, right? Is it Wilkinson?
Yeah.
Who was the original Phantom.
Yeah, well, you talk about these singers like Johnny Cash and Joe Cocker who are so unique. Colm Wilkinson is no different. He's got tears in his voice, and there's something really unique and spiritual about his singing. And when I saw him as a Phantom, he moved me to tears. And as a 12-year-old trying to be a tough guy on the ice, having a frog in my throat, I can't cry, they're gonna hit me. And I thought he was the nicest guy, and I waited at stage door, and I said, I wanna do what you do, how do I do it? He's like, I just was in rock bands, and so the next day I went and joined a rock band, and...
You know, it's funny because I saw Les Mis before it actually went to Broadway.
Wow. At
the Kennedy Center, I guess in the mid-'80s, and Colm Wilkinson was starring as Jean Valjean in that production. He was amazing.
And like today, I'm proud and honored that we're friends. And you know, and I remember as a kid, I aspired to be like him as an actor and a singer. Knowing the man I know now, I aspire to be even half the man he is. He's such a great guy.
Oh, that's nice.
And now we jam on guitars and banjos together, and he sang me the song he wrote, and his voice is better than ever.
Really?
I just don't know how he holds
old is he now, Colm?
I don't want to do him a disservice.
He's older.
Well, these were his words. He's like, I'm 70 years old now, and I'm like, you're 70, you sound like you're 20.
Wow. Meanwhile, I know that you had to get in really fighting shape to do this role because it is grueling. I mean, you're carrying around Marius For what? A good 20 minutes or something like
Well,
that?
if I'm not singing big old notes, I'm carrying something. Marius, the cart, there we are.
And I heard you were inspired by the Ultimate Fighter, Randy Couture. Is that his name?
Yeah, well, it all started with that, and obviously.
And Al Pacino too, right?
Yeah, because we go through so many different phases with Valjean. Like I see him as 3 different sort of physicalities throughout the show because he spans, a few decades. And I remember when Randy Couture, 48 years old, comes out and wins the heavyweight championship of the world in the cage with the UFC, and I'm like, look at his body, look at his fortitude and his integrity. I'm like, there's Jean Valjean coming out of prison. Look, each to their own. And with Hugh Jackman, the way he sort of
right,
built
he bulked
himself.
up, right?
Yeah, and I had the great fortune to be at the Oscars when he was nominated, and we talked for about 10 minutes about it.
He's the nicest guy, isn't he?
Again, you talk about a man of integrity, and I'm blessed to be following great footsteps, And I talked about his weight training, and it just made me want to lift more and get stronger, and you feel better. I don't know. It's great. I don't know what happened when I leave Valjean.
Yeah, well, you need probably the energy to complete that role night after night. And you've been married for 13 years.
Yep.
Your wife and your 2 sons live in London.
Yeah.
So is that hard?
Absolutely. Distance is not great on any relationship, and I feel like I'm a father via FaceTime right now, but I keep reminding myself, as a dad, I want to try and give them a great life and go where the opportunity is. And they come out here.
I was like, that must be a picture of the kids.
There they are. Look at them.
So cute. Look at them.
Hadley's a little one. There's Jaden. That's when we went to see Rocky on Broadway.
So cute.
They loved it.
Well, you know what? I understand that you stop the theater cold after you sing Bring Him Home every single night. There are applause, sustained applause for how many minutes do you think? Is that awkward? It must feel great.
It's the thing is, the show, what we get at the end is ridiculous, and it feels like we're rock stars. And I think what we get throughout and at the end, it's really nice to see a show that's been around for so long to feel fresh and
right.
people to want to see it. That's the best part.